Sam, one of the things that you pointed out was that while you've adopted these holistic practices on your property, there's not a great deal of uptake by others, and there's a need to demonstrate these alternative ways of doing things. But at the same time, we see that government's withdrawing from research and development and extension. What are your views on that, and how could that be remedied, do you feel?
Well, uptake will be greater if there is demonstrated success. I think we all have that curious nature, and we'll drive along a road and look over the fence and go, "Oh, I wonder what they're doing over there." And so, being able to tangibly show producers things that are working well is central. And in order to do that, we need research and development, but then extension to take that from the smaller area into a much larger landscape and demonstrate it to producers.
But that doesn't seem to be happening. Isn't that an issue for you? You've done this. Have you seen much uptake around your area by others, or?
No, not a lot. I think at this stage there's probably the jury's out and they're still looking over the fence going, well, what they're doing over there is interesting. But part of that's probably a matter of competing priorities.
Yes.
We've, in southern New South Wales, been faced with sort of extended periods of drought, and so whilst aspirationally many farmers would like to change their farming systems, possibly they find themselves in a situation where they don't quite know how to do it. It hasn't been demonstrated to them how to do it, because the extension services are retracting, and there's not that opportunity for the education to take place as much as it would have previously. All of those factors are contributing to a slower uptake, which was your opening comment, that holistically many of the educators and the practitioners would say, well, there's not a lot of people out there that are doing it.
No, that's right. So when you say there are impediments to others taking it up, it's basically because they don't really know what's involved.
I think so. Demonstrated success is one. Education is another. So how do I do it? And often, and we saw it here today with this presentation, that people will be asking operational type questions. So what size are your paddocks? How do you do your watering? How frequently do you rotate? But the step back before that is, well, what are the benefits of doing it, and what are the costs of doing this?
So what would you say are the benefits?
To me, it goes to that triple bottom line: the ability to manage a farming system, which is a complex ecological system, to deliver outcomes that are both economic, environmental, and contribute socially as well. And within that, there's also increasingly ethically, so animal welfare and things like that.
Yeah, I think animal welfare is an issue that is not explicit in the triple bottom line, but it's clearly in there, especially when you talk about sustainability.
Absolutely.
And you're really referring to free range. So,
yes. Yep. Yeah. And for many producers, they automatically are undertaking ethical practices.
Yes,
but it's often it's a case of being able to say to them, okay, well, if you combine this and this and this in aggregate, you can improve your output, however you may choose to measure that. Now, it may be hectares of remnant vegetation that's protected, or it may be yield tonnes of grain harvested, or carrying capacity.
So if you're looking at the issues of triple bottom line or holistic management within the industry, that's an important challenge as it is. What about getting the message to consumers and having them actually appreciate that to do these things might actually incur a cost, and that to have a willingness to pay, in a sense?
I think that's the biggest challenge, is the willingness to pay. For probably time immemorial, we have been impressing upon the consumers that we produce cheap food.
Yes.
And we look at the major supermarket outlets, and it is, one of them's tagline, lowest prices every day.
Yes.
So the consumers go in there in the expectation that whatever they're getting is going to be the lowest possible price. So
and quality.
Absolutely. But with quality, there is a cost imposed there. So for us, as producers, we would be looking for a price signal to say, well, if the consumer truly values these add-ons, then pay us a reasonable price, which covers our cost of production and a margin. It doesn't need to be an exorbitant one, but a modest one. And we will continue to farm in that manner.
Yeah.
However, in the absence of doing that, when we have constraints on our system, then human nature, you revert back to almost a fortress world, especially when you've got highly volatile commodity prices, interest rates heading north. What is it? Less than 1% of the Australian landmass is irrigated. So the rest of us operate in rain-fed systems.
Yeah, fairly vulnerable.
So we have no control of rainfall. We have no control of less of a control around commodity prices unless we choose to move into a niche market, which brings with it cost.
But you're a price maker in that situation.
Unquestionably, but there is. If you were to talk to anyone who's gone down that path, there is a long lead time. It is a long journey to get there, and they can't afford to take their eye off the ball.
So that would be one of your heads up to people that are thinking of going into this area of holistic management and attempting to establish a premium.
Absolutely. I think, look, change, irrespectively of where we do it, whether it be in farming or in another industry or in our own lives, is can be confronting. More often than not, the changes we are making, we never operated in that end state. So there's a lot of risk in moving from current state to end state, and therefore we need to, if we're to manage our risk appropriately or thoughtfully, we would do it gradually, little by little, and trial something first, and then go, yes, that works, let's move to the next step, rather than, okay, let's... And
along your journey, do you feel have you got any mistakes or any...
Absolutely, and anyone who says that they haven't would be, just...
What was a key lesson in the process you went through?
I think expansion is a very risky and dangerous period in any business cycle, in any business and in any cycle, and therefore you need to be very methodical and and very disciplined about the way that you do and monitor and intervene every point of the way.
But worth it at the end of the day?
For timing is the other one. So I'd have to say in our circumstances we chose to expand by leasing more country the year it stopped raining.
Yes,
and so
well done.
So and there was a capital cost in stocking that property, plus also the lease payments.
Yes,
that was an overhead.
Yes.
So the value in that was a hard lesson learned.
Yes.
To be very mindful about the order in which we do things or the manner in which we do things, and I think we are now consequently more considered in the decisions that we make. And not as we hasten slowly in the end state.
That's probably good advice.
And I know if you talk to any of the financial institutions that lend into the agriculture, they see that as a long-term investment, and similarly we as practitioners should. So
what would be your takeaway message on moving into a holistic management system?
Look, I think. I'm an eternal optimist. I think agriculture's got a great future, and there's no one-size-fits-all, but certainly there are plenty of things that we can take from holistic management that we can apply to our farming systems to make them more resilient, more agile, and deliver against the triple bottom line.
True. Thank you.